Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Today's shir is being sponsored leilui nishmat Mordechai and the Renewal Agency in honor of Michal Mandelbaum's first year anniversary of donating a kidney to her father. Talking about chesed. Gave her father life. Unreal. Renewal finds and supports live kidney donors. Without their support, especially after the surgery, Avi Mandelbaum, our in-house, I forgot, he's not a scientist, he's a physicist, chemist. He's a chemist, you're right. Chemist. Would not have been able to join MDY. Wow. So that would have been a big loss, not to have Avi. We feel it now every single day. MDY Family is sponsoring. Now, MDY Family are people from MDY who got together to sponsor the full week of Shiva. Leilui nishmat Yerachmiel ben Yibodel Rabbi Yisroel. The Zechron Levracha goes on the Yerachmiel. Huh? What did I say? Altars is something else. Leilui nishmat Yehoshua ben Boruch Nosson. Also, leilui nishmas, this is Yossi Schloss's grandfather, Rabbi Yosef, also Menachem Schloss's grandfather, and also Rabbi Schloss's shver. Leilui nishmas Rabbi Yosef ben Yehuda Chaim. Rabbi Sai, here's a quick email. Where's the clock? Beautiful stuff here. This is from Uri Strum. Close up. You got to get a close up of the tzaddik. Look at this. Gary. Efata. Anybody? More. Here you go. More. Here's this tzaddik with his tzitzis, holding his two babies, with a Gemara, trying to balance. Look at that. It's like literally juggling four things: a Gemara, a shear, and a cell phone, and two babies. About 7 weeks ago, I ruptured my Achilles tendon playing football. That is real American football. And I had surgery. Baruch Hashem, the foot is healing. However, I've been spending a ton of time resting on the couch. It was during this period of time when I got hooked on your shir via the All Daf app. I look forward to shir each day as you really bring each day daf to life. I know you appreciate when people send pictures, and I happen to have this picture of me and my two girls. The little one was born a mere 2 weeks after my injury. It was my right foot, which meant I couldn't even drive my wife to the hospital. That's all in parentheses, learning the daf with you. Bekitzer, all the best. Uri Strum from Baltimore, Maryland. Beautiful. Rabbi Sai. I have a riddle. What's the connection between giving a 10-foot kayak, a lime 10-foot kayak, to somebody in New York, and that will cause somebody in South Africa and somebody in Australia to learn Torah? What's the connection? In order to know the answer to this, I have to tell you the other part of the story. So the other day I was saying over a beautiful thing. I got emails about it. People were talking about it on Shabbos. People said it over at their Su'udah. Shlomi Klein, a Lubavitcher Chassid, got in his car and decided to pay a shiva call to Rabbi Yisroel Gordon, a Litvish guy he's never met and never seen in his life. He lost his son to the Machla last week. So he gets in his car. It's almost a 2-hour drive from Crown Heights to Lakewood. And he figured that he's going to be there for 5-10 minutes, get back in his car, 2-hour drive back. So 2 hours and 10 minutes, 4 hours and 10 minutes, the whole thing, round trip. He walks into the house and he sits down. He says, you probably don't know me. And the guy says, Shlomi Klein, what do you mean I don't know you? I see you every day. You're the guy that drives around in New York because he does produce. At 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, he's listening to the shir. And they get into the whole conversation that lasted for 2 hours. 2 hours. So I want to share with you some of the things that Shlomi Klein said over to us after the shir on Zoom. He says, you see the green kayak over there? Yeah, you see the green kayak. His son that's healthy mentioned that he wants a kayak. So somebody from the shir sent him in the mail a kayak, a 10-foot kayak, lime. Somebody in the shir, another person, realized that Rabbi Yisroel and his wife are in the hospital. They don't have internet. They don't have smartphones. They don't have anything. They don't have computers. And they're not communicating with the family. There's no way. They're stuck in the hospital, stuck. So somebody bought them a brand new laptop, sent it to their house, set them up with kosher internet so that they could communicate. Another guy from the shir said, this is not right, that this kid is sitting in the hospital like this, unconscious. He went and he bought him pillowcases with the MDY logo embroidered into the pillowcase. And this goes on and on. This is 2 hours of conversation, he's telling him, to explain the chizuk that people, the chesed that people have done, to reach out. I never knew about this stuff. Kayak, 10-foot kayak, sitting in a Lakewood living room somewhere. It's never been used. It's wrapped in a thing because you can't go kayaking now. The guy found out the kid wants a kayak. But what's also very amazing, mamish hashgacha pratis. So this Lubavitcher guy came to do chesed. Unbeknownst to him, this Lubavitcher guy has done chesed to this family 30 years earlier. What happened? You're not going to believe this. Shlomi Klein lived across the street from Yisroel, what's his last name? Gordon. Across the street in Crown Heights. And Yisroel Gordon's father, who was just nifted from COVID in Lakewood, had a heart attack. And Shlomi Klein's father saved his life. Shlomi Klein. So Shlomi Klein was famous from the Ami magazine. There was another story that he met Yossi Klein's father. It's about the father. Gordon tells me, your father saved my father. Unbelievable. And then later on, he comes and Menachem without any connection, not knowing this. Just wanted to share with you. So Rabbi Isai, you got to pass on that chesed. Pass it on. Keep on going. Keep on calling. Make that phone call to anybody. Nothing to do with Shiva. Call a person. Give him a good feeling. You can buy him a kayak. If you're into buying kayaks, make a phone call. If you're, whatever it is. I mean, when this guy, no one was telling me yesterday, this guy said he doesn't have Ritzuas. He's stuck in, where was he? Maine somewhere. Oregon. 10 people. He says, B'loi Guzman, 10 people. Said, how could I send it? How could I? Kol Kodim Zacha. It was a fight. Who's going to do it? Shmuel Eliwad, he's now out. He's in Bidud. There was a guy said he needs a setup, a computer so he could watch the shir. He's handicapped. That minute, he said, I'm doing it, and he went 5 minutes later, he set the guy up. Unbelievable. Chesed. Here, Chesed, where is he? She donated a kidney. To donate. Okay, it's her father, I understand. It's still, nevertheless, it's a kidney. All right, Rabbi Isai, here we go. We are holding, today's Daf Mem Gimel. We're holding all the way on the bottom, Daf Mem Beis, Amud Beis. The cosmetics of women, also that have chametz, also aser. Bal yirah, bal yamotza. Tachshitei noshim sokadeitach what? Lipstick has chametz. Al ema aftipuli noshim. Yes, the whatever cream. I don't know if you were zeicha the beer last night. What a classic. That cream that I tried out once as a bar, many times. I used to use it until my brother's bar mitzvah. If you weren't here last night, it's kedai. They have till this very day. You put on a cream, takes off the hair. So I put it on my face, but it was my brother's bar mitzvah, so I wanted extra special close shave. So I left it on another 5 minutes, more than the instructions said. It shaved off my whole face. Forget the beard, the whole skin, everything. I walked in like a tomato. Fine. That has chametz. Domer Rav Yudomer Rav. There's a bunch of Rav Yudomer Ravs today. In the name of Rav. Top of Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. B'nais Yisrael shegilu pirkum v'lo yegilu shanim. The younger girls, they're already showing simanim, but they don't have the year. They're not old. They're not 12 years old yet. And they're embarrassed. B'nais aniyim toivleis oisem besid. They used to have public baths in those days. So b'nais aniyim toivleis oisem besid. Look at that. Sid, what's Sid? Lime. It all connects. At the end of the day, it all connects. This is the color lime. I'm talking about Exactly, I know. I'm going to show that in a second. Kutach is also lime. Yeah. It's all about lime. Lime kayak, lime kutach. But this is lime, sid. It's what they smear on the Israeli houses. Every house has like lime on the wall. It's chashiv. Instead of wallpaper, they do a bunch of lime. Arabs think it's very chashiv. Benois aniyim toiv l'zoysim besid. You put this lime on the face, Hashem Yerachmiel, benois or whatever. Benois ashirim toiv l'zoysim besoilas. But the wealthier ones that could afford more, they take fine flour. It's mamish waste. Fine flour. It does the same thing. Benois melachim. The daughters of the kings b'shem and Amor. This oil from Mor, shenemar shishu chadoshim b'shem and Amor in Esther, 6 months with Mor. Mai shem and Amor, Ravuna bar Yirmi oimer, stochas, whatever it is, something. Rav Yirmi bar Abba Omar, shemen zayish lehevi shlish. It's olive oil from olives that aren't ripe. They didn't even bring a third of the growth. Tanya Rabbi Oimer, am pikonin. Where it says Abikonim, we had it in Menachas, it means the same thing, olive oil that didn't bring a third. And why do they use it? Because it removes hair, it does two things, kills two birds with one stone. It softens the skin and removes the hair. So it says in the Mishnah, anything that's made out of the 5 grains is chametz if it's inside the chametz. We're going to discuss. So basically, we could jump into it now if we want. There was 2 categories in the Mishnah. The first category was taroivus. There's 4 things that are taroivus. One of them is the famous kutach, which, if you weren't zoicha, Levi, we made a kutach here with 6-month-old spoiled milk. The oilam smelled it through Zoom yesterday. We made it on the spot. Everybody wear masks. This is it. This is the original. This is it. It was food coloring. But after I thought everybody realized it's food coloring. It was like, wow, we thought it's yellow. How did it turn green? It must be after 6 months it turns green. No. So anyways, here's some bread. This is, in other words, you have real chametz. You take a real piece of bread, and you throw it into the chametz. So it's a mixture. You might not see it after you mix it up. These are smaller pieces, obviously. Mix it up. This is shuglu. That was one of the things. That's the last 3 things in the Mishnah. Shuglu. Shuglu is not taroivus. You don't put bread in it. It's almost chametz. It almost got there. It's not edible. It's glue. Nobody eats glue. And it didn't really leaven 100%. It's almost there. So you have nuksha and you have taroivus in the Mishnah. Says the Gemara Zaklal, Tani Yomi Bishua. Once it tells me that if it contains one of the 5 grains, Yo'over, Bal Yiro, Bal Yamotza, so then why does the Mishnah tell us 7 cases? Wouldn't it be enough to bring 1 case? 1 case of taroivus. So let's say, for instance, kutach. Why do you have to go on and say, beer? Beer, you don't see the chametz at all. But it's in there. There's barley in that particular modai beer. So one example is enough. Kutach. You want an example of nuksha? Shuglu. What do I have to say? Zimra mitzri, all these things. 7. Says the Gemara, Kadeshia Rogel Bahem Uishmoiseyim. I want everybody, even those who live in Iraq, in Bavel, they should be familiar with how they call it in Eretz Yisrael, etc. Kihan, there's a story, Dahu Bar Ma'arava, there's a guy from Bavel. Iklal Bavel. So he came Bavel. He came from Eretz Yisrael. Ma'arava, he came from Eretz Yisrael. Iklal Bavel. He comes to Bavel. Hava Bisra Bahadei, and he's eating a sandwich, a cold cut sandwich. Omalu Kurivili Maskilto. Give me this maskilta. Now, I don't know if you remember, maybe Leiby remembers from Masechta Shabbos. Remember this? We just had this word in passing. Daf Zayin. Maskilta means mosa yichlazeh. It's a dip that lasts forever, some sort of dip. It says, pass me the dip. Shoma deka amri korivile kutoch. He overheard. I mean, it's mamish anes. He almost ate this vile, sour, moldy, disgusting thing that they thought was chashem. Anyway, he says, give me the dip. So he hears them, give him the kutach. Now, if he was a regular Israeli, you'd have no idea. Kutach, let's say in English, they said, give him the vile dip. You wouldn't know what it is. But now that he learned the Mishnah, he knows what kutach is. The guy made a demonstration, showed him the sour milk, ozach. He chapped what kutach was. And he said, I'm eating a sandwich. And kutach has whey in it. Problem, basa b'chalav. Ayin in Rabbi Schoenberg's Dvar Torah. Is there whey, chalav, not chalav? Showing the guy making really kudach, giving the shama kudach, peirash. So he said, no, I'm not eating this thing. Harelu ba'azara. So all these things in the Mishnah, you get a lav, you get malchus. Mantana the chometz dogon gomor aidei taroives. So now we have to know, who is the man the Omar that says that ta'aroives? Again, what is the difference between the two? There's two differences. Number one, this has actual chametz, real chametz, bread, barley in the case of beer, and the other things also barley. The Gemara said yesterday, throw in barley. But the thing is, you don't see it at all. It's a dip. It's beautifully. It's pureed. You don't see any bread. If you look at it, you're not going to see bread. I just saw somebody sent me Rabbi, what's his name? Abramowitz, I think. He's on all daf. He connects the daf to like real life, like history. And he says they might be selling kudach today. It sounds similar, and he shows what it is. It's a dip. It's a real dip. It's made out of the sour stuff, fermented milk, the whole thing. So, but you don't see it. Over here, it's be'ein. You might see it, but it's not edible, according to Rashi. It's nuksha. It's almost there. It's very shvacha chametz. It's weak, not edible chametz. So two problems going on. So we're going to see, this is the whole sugya. There's two man d'amrim. One says that there's an Isser lav on this, on Taroivis, and Memela I'm going to do a kolchkein to this, to Nuksha. And the other one says the opposite. I have a lav on Nuksha, and once I know Nuksha, I'm going to go kolchkein to Taroivis. So let's see how that works. Man tana de chometz dogon gomer, there's mamish bread in it. Al yedei Taroivis, it's in a mixture. The Nuksha, but you don't see it. The Nuksha be'enei. But you have the inferior chametz that you could pashat see bilav. Both of them are a lav. Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Rav. Rav Yehuda, an Amoira, says in the name of Rav, Rabbi Meir here, he. This is Shitas Rabbi Meir, the Sanya, Si'ur, not Seyor, not with a oi, but a u. This is very different. This is something that didn't become chametz completely. Yisarev v'noisnoi lekalboi. So let me show you real quickly. We have a machloikas here like this. Si'ur, not seyor, not leaven, but si'ur, something that didn't become chametz yet. According to Reb Meir, it means white. It became white. You see how this is yellow? This is white. White, like it got embarrassed, its face turned white. So that is si'ur. And Rabbi Yehuda says, no, it's actually one step further. It's yellow, but it has cracks in it. It has cracks. The cracks are not touching. Now, I couldn't find more than one picture in the entire internet of dough with cracks. So I had to use it twice. One is cracks that don't touch, and one is cracks that do touch. Fine, we'll pretend that this doesn't touch. And as I mentioned yesterday, we had it on Daf Mem, but I was too mebulbul from the whole Maisa, so I forgot to show the chart. But it's kekarne chagavim. Why is there a grasshopper on this bread? Because like the antennas of a grasshopper, that's how thin the cracks are. That shows that it's chametz. That's siur. But Rabbi Yehuda says this right over here is matzah. Ma'amish kosher lePesach. But midrabanan they said don't eat it. What's chametz gomer according to Rabbi Yehuda? According to Rabbi Meir, this is not siur. This is mamish chametz. Chametz. If it has cracks, it's chametz. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, it only becomes chametz gomer when the cracks touch each other. Rabbi Yehuda is more makel. Rabbi Yehuda says cracks are not chametz gomer. It's only siur. Rabbi Meir says cracks are chametz gomer. So says the Gemara, siur yisarav v'noisnei l'kalboi. What do you do with it? You got to burn it, and you can give it to your dog. Does that make sense? Anything you burn, that means you can't have enough from it. And then a second later it says, give it to your dog. So what's pshat? V'oichloi barbaim. If you eat it, you're going to get malchus. Hogu fakashya. How do you explain this? Amris, siur yisarif. You're telling me that if it's siur, the step before chametz, you have to burn it. Alma, asabano. You can't, if you have to, anything you have to burn, it's terrible stuff. It means you can't benefit from it at all. So if you can't benefit, how could you give it to your dog? Alma mutabano. Says the Gemara, hachi kamar. This is what is meant to say. Siur yisaref, the remeir. Whatever each shita holds, that's what you have to burn. Remeir holds if it becomes white, it's siur, burn it. Rabbi Yehuda says, not if it becomes white. If it has cracks, burn it. The remeir, the Rabbi Yehuda. V'noisnoi lifnei kalboi, and I could give it to the dog, is what? The remeir Rabbi Yehuda. A little confusing. That's why you need this then. So some pasha. Rabbi Meir, the white stuff, according to Rabbi Yehuda, which is nothing, it's mamish matzah. This is beautiful. White dough is mamish, I could eat it by the seder. So you give it to your dog. Why dog? Because Rabbi Yehuda agrees that midarabanan is aser. Midarais is 100% mutter. You can eat it by the seder. Don't eat it. But you can give it to your dog. It's only the rabbanan, so give it to the dog. Va'ichloi. Asan Meir. And if you eat this, the white stuff, you get malchus according to Rabbi Meir. Okay? But the bottom line is, Shamin and leilui Rabbi Meir, nuksha be'enei bilav. So you see that this is nuksha. Why is it nuksha? Look at this. Is this edible? It's in the process of becoming chametz, in the process of leavening. So it's not edible, says Rashi. It's not geshmak chametz. It's right before the chametz. Nevertheless, Reb Meir holds you get mamish malchus. So here we have a Tana that says that nuksha, this white guy, equals this super glue, shoe glue, which is nuksha. And that's it. So I have a Tana that says nuksha is lav. Now, what about this kutach, my favorite kutach thing? That we're going to have to learn in the Kavachaymer. Certainly, look at this. Rabbi Isai, look at this. It has a piece of bread in it. It doesn't get any worse. If super glue is chametz, so certainly a serious piece of bread is chametz. You just don't see it anymore because I threw it in the mixer. But there's bread in here. This doesn't have bread. This has something like this. It started to become chametz. It wants to become chametz, but it's not real chametz. It's only nuksha. So if nuksha is chametz and you get malchus on it, so certainly this should get malchus. That makes a lot of sense, right? Because you chametz dagan gomer like taroivis. Rav Nachman says punkt verkehrt. Rav Nachman Omar Rebbe Eliezer he Tosfos on MDY Amud Aleph in the Mishnah, it says Rebbe Eliezer, he says you have to be garis either Rebbe Elazar or you have to flip. Either in the Mishnah it's Rebbe Elazar or over here it's Rebbe Elazar. It can't be the same person saying this thing. If it's 100% chametz like Mr. Ta'aroives, then it's kares. Alei ruvoi belav. Sorry. If it's chametz gomer, like a real piece of bread, kares. Alei ruvoi, and if you mix it up, you take that bread, you mix it in, geshmak, you don't see it anymore, belav, you still get a lav. Di Rebbe Eliezer, or Rebbe Elazar. Only if it's 100% chametz, you eat a piece of bread, a donut, then you get kares. Alei ruvoi, if it's mixed in with a mixer, beloi klum. It's aser, but you don't get malchus. So Rebbe Eliezer is the one that says that this case right over here, the taroivis gets a lav. So certainly, this that you see it. Over here, the kolchkin is fakert. Over here, you don't see the chametz at all. Yet Rebbe Eliezer says you get a lav. So certainly, when you don't see the chametz, it's glue. You don't see anything. I'm sorry, you do see it. Over here, you don't see it. Taroivis, you don't see it because it's mixed in. The glue, you see it's be'ein, but it's nuksha. So kolchkin, it should be a Osir. Says the Gemara, I have this chart, I don't know if it's going to help at all. I'll show it to you. According to Rameir, you get a lav for nuksha, for the red. So certainly ta'aroives, the green that's mixed in. According to Rebbe Lezer, it's the opposite. You get a lav for ta'aroives, the green. So certainly the nuksha, the red. Okay? Does it help? Reuven, does this help you at all? You're the one in charge of these. Okay, we'll find out later. Zog the Gemara, Rav Nachman my time Rav Yehuda. What's wrong with what Rav Yehuda said? That it goes according to Rameir, in which Rameir holds nuksha is a lav, and certainly taroivis. Why do you have to say that taroivis and certainly nuksha? Omelach Adkan Dilma, for perhaps Adkan leikomer Rameir hasam ela nuksha beine. Maybe it's dafka, a lav you get for something that the chametz is right there. But this case, there's no kolchkin. Rav Yehuda my time Rav Nachman. And why does Rav Yehuda say that it goes according to Rebbe Eliezer? The Gemara, by the way, is saying perhaps. We're going to see in a second, it's literally like that. We'll find somebody that says exactly this. That what? That Rebbe Eliezer only holds as a lav when it comes to Aroivis. But you can't jump and make conclusions and say that super glue is also a lav. No, you stop over here. And that's what the Gemara is saying. When there's a piece of bread, he says, okay, it's a lav. But nuksha is not real chametz. It wants to be chametz. It's starting to leaven. It's starting, but it's not real. So maybe he holds that there's no lav on it. Says the Gemara, in fact, Tanya Kava say the Rav Yehuda, this is exactly what we see. That Rebbe Eliezer doesn't hold that chametz nuksha is a lav. Only ta'aroivis is a lav. Don't make a kavachomer. But the opposite would be true. You could make a kavachomer for Rameir. If nuksha is a lav, then certainly ta'aroivis is a lav. Where do we see this? It says, Kol machmeses lo yisechelu. See? Okay. Kol machmeses lo yisechelu. Machmetzes lo yisechelu. L'rabois kutach habavli, v'sheichar amodi, v'choy min tzoadayim, v'zeisim ha-mitzvah. These are the four things that the Mishnah talks about. This pasuk, kol machmetzes, anything that becomes chametz, including kutach. You don't see it, including beer that it contains some barley, is asa. Yachal ye'onush kares. Maybe you should get on those four things that the Mishnah brings, kares. What are those things? Ta'aroives chametz. They're only a mixture. Tamaloi marki kol oichel chametz v'nichrasa. Ki kol oichel chametz in purple. Chametz v'nichrasa, not machmetzes, not a mixture, but real full-fledged chametz like bread and donuts. Al chametz dogen gomur onush kares vali ruvay belav. But if you do a mixture, you get a lav. Man shamasle dom ali ruvay belav. Who told you that a mixture like kutach is a lav? Rebbe Eliezer he. Vilu nukshe beine like Amar. So taroivis yes, nuksha not. So that's mamish. That's like what Rav Yehuda said. That we have to go with Rameir, not Rebbe Eliezer. Rebbe Eliezer, you're going to get stuck. He holds only taroivis is a lav and nuksha is not a lav. There's no kolchkein. So Mamela, you can't learn it from Rebbe Eliezer. You have to learn it from Rameir. Fine. No, nuksha, Rebbe Eliezer, Leslie. Rebbe Eliezer holds, kutach, that's full-fledged bread. It's just you don't see it. It's mixed in there. That you get a lav. Super glue, that might be right there. Shoe glue. But I'm calling it super because shoe glue is super. If you can walk on it, it doesn't come out as super. Mazim shaneh, glue for soifrim, glue for shoes, glue for everything. Rebbe Eliezer, Ruvi belav min olei. Rebbe Eliezer, a ruvoi belav minole. What does Rebbe Eliezer know? This idea that if you mix it kutach, you get a lav. D'chsiv kol machmetzes lo yisechel, as we mentioned. This pasuk, kol machmetzes, teaches me that a taroives, a mixture of chametz, you're over. You get malchus. Yachi kares namen lechayev. So why stop at a lav? Say you should get a kares. Why kares? Dochsiv ki kol oichel machmetzes v'nichrusa. Look, the same word machmetzes appears in this pasuk, the middle one, blue. Ki kol oichel machmetzes. If you eat a mixture, what's your punishment? V'nichrusa. This kares. So why stop at a lav? Says the Gemara, Amud Beis, look at this anyo. Machmetzes. No, this machmetzes is not this is referring to a taroives, a mixture. This machmetzes is not referring to taroives. What is it talking about? I know if chametz, you put flour and water and it becomes chametz. But what if you put that, remember I used to bring those bottles, my wife's sa'ar? What if you throw in a little sa'ar to make it go? Some agent in there? Then maybe it's not chametz. The Torah says it has to happen by itself. No. Even when you add an agent to speed it up. Maybe this lav, kol machmetzes, who told you that machmetzes means kutach, a mixture? Maybe kol machmetzes is telling me that there's a lav when it happens through another agent. When there's something else besides the water and the flour, you throw in sourdough in there. It's from this word, not from machmetzes, it's from kol. Ask the Gemara, Hasam nami uksiv kol. Look, this pasuk also has the word kol. I can't use kol. Kol in this pasuk is not extra. Kol in this pasuk comes to include a taroives. Am I losing you guys? I have a feeling that it's too much drushes going on here. So the word kol over here is to include a taroives, kutach, this nasty kutach stuff. But the word kol over here cannot include that. I want to tell you that women who eat chametz on Pesach, they get kares. How do I know it? From the word kol. So kol is not extra. Ask the Gemara, Noshim, the Rabbi Yudam Rav Nafka. There's a famous klal in all of the Torah that women get kares just like men get kares. On anything that a man is asur, a woman is asur. Why? Dom Rabbi Yudam Rav, the Rabbi Shmuel, Omar Kro, Isha ki yasim kol achatos ha'adam, is talking about if a person steals and then he swears he didn't steal. And then he admits that he did steal. Hishva kosav ish leisha lechol einchim shabbat Torah. So here we have Yisroel in all of the Torah. If there's an aver for a man, it's an aver for a woman. Forget it, the gzeila, shvu, sheker, and chametz. So Memela, why do I need the word kol? If I already know that a woman is chayv and chametz, I don't have to learn it out from kol. So then why do I need kol? So now we're turning to Daf Yomi Pesachim Daf. Itzrich. So kedai de chamino. We just turned, sponsored by Gedalia Fenster, the refuah shleimo of Yerachmiel Daniel ben Tova Basha. So the pasuk says two things. There's a asay and a lois asay. There's a positive commandment. You should eat matzah. Eat matzah. Do this. Do something. But it also says don't do something. Don't eat chametz. Anything, they're connected. If you eat matzah, then you can't eat chametz. Do women eat matzah? At this point of the Gemara, no. They're not chayiv matzah. Why? Think about it. If I were to ask you, you never knew anything, but you did know the famous concept of mitzvah asesha as man grama noshim pturos, matzah is only the last seder. Why should a woman be chayiv matzah? Only once a year. So that's the classic case of a woman being potter. So since she's potter for matzah, she could eat chametz all day long because it's in the same pasuk. Eat matzah, don't eat chametz. So if you're not mechuyev to eat matzah, you could eat chametz. Well, that doesn't ruin our yesod of that. That's for latkes on Hanukkah. Doesn't work for. He asked afem hoya bois anes. Okay, Kol sheyeshne bekum echol matzah yeshne b'mal doichal chametz. V'hanenoshi hoyel v'lesnu bekum. Listen, I know we're running out of time. I still have to say hello to some of these people. Robert Asheim, Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Asheim, Shalom Aleichem. And I'm not going to say hello to Amar Ashkenazi, but why are the same guys on the first screen every single time? Zalman White, Raki, tour guide, Moshe Zeret. I have to see some new guys. Akiva Solway, Shalom Aleichem. Wow, long time no see. Judah David, he's a new guy. How come you're not here in the Beis Medrash, Judah? From the only people that have a schus to come to Beis Medrash and you don't show up. That's bad. Tell me that you have COVID, I'll be moichel you.
His son was in the hotel with me.
His son has COVID.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Who, Yoel? Yoel, his name is his son. Oh, the older one or the younger one?
The teenage one.
Oh, no, his name is not Yoel. His name is, what's his name? I forgot his name. He learns in that yeshiva by Rabbi Friedman. All right. Zog the Gemara, Vani no shehoyev lesnu bekum echol matzo, de'avelei mitzvah saseish az man groma, ei mevav toicha chometz nami lesnu, komash malon. Okay, so that's why I need the call. Says the Gemara v'hash this Rabbi Luba bal toicha chometz, but women are chayiv in the isser of chometz. Why? Because of the word kol. So now we know. Everybody knows women have to eat matzah. They sit at the Seder, they have a very hard time with the kezayis, right? The mamish, they struggle with the kezayis. So they're not mechuyev, so don't eat it. They are mechuyev. Why are they mechuyev? Now we just learned why. We learned that a woman is also eating chametz. She can't eat a donut on Pesach. Why? Because it says kol. And chametz and matzah are in the same pasuk. So since she's also in chametz, she's chayiv in matzah. So now, here's matzah k'Rebbe Eliezer or Rebbe Lazar the Goyres here. Domer Rebbe Lazar. Noshim chayav z'bachilas matzah the bar Torah. How do I know the chayiv? Midoraisa the chayiv. It's not a derabbanan thing. Shenem alei teichal of chametz. If you can't eat chametz, you mechuyev in matzah. Kol sheyesh b'al teichal chametz yeshnem b'achilas matzah. V'hani noshi nami hoyel v'yeshnem b'al teichal chametz yeshnem b'kubel chol matzah. Says the Gemara. Okay, so we have the word kol. Right over here, kol, to teach us that women are oiver. If they eat chametz, they get kares. Umay chazes the hay kol rabui noshim. Who told you that it comes to include women? Emil rabui ruvoi. Maybe it comes to include this kutach. Kol, this famous kutach should be also. Says the Gemara, mistabra koy ba'oichlin mar ba'oichlin. We're talking about. Look at the word. Oichel. Oichel. Oichel is a person that's eating. Whoever is eating, the eater, not the eaten, not the food, but the person chewing. Ki kol oichel chametz v'nichras, a person who eats, he's going to get cars. Kol oichel. So Mela, instead of me adding another type of food called kutach, I'm going to add another type of person called a woman. This is talking about a man eating. So I'm going to add something similar to a man called a woman. Why would I add a funny type of food called kutach? Down here, kol machmetzes is talking about food. That's something else. In a chanami, at the end of the day, we learn taroivus from down here, says Rashi. Says the Gemara, yeah? This is for the lav, but not for the kares. So if you eat machmetzes, kol machmetzes, yeah? Another type of food is also included because it says kol machmetzes, called kutach. For that you get what? A lav. But not kares, because this pasuk is talking about the human being, not the food. So Mela, I prefer to add another type of human being called a woman, and not to add another type of food. A very simple, anybody that reads this question knows the answer to this question. The what? He asked the question, I do have a case of a pasuk that's talking about the person eating it, the human being, and instead of adding a type of food, instead of adding another type of person, the Gemara darshans another type of food. You see, I could go from human to food. Look at this. And this is also a very important pasuk, Rabbi saying. How do you know, seriously, how do you know that you're not allowed to eat chaylev? There's forbidden fats in every animal. Right? All these chalavim. They take it out, throw it in the garbage. You have to do nikur or whatever it is. I don't know if nikur is so much chaylev, but yeah, let's say. The fats, this forbidden. How do you know? Look at the pasuk. If you were to read this pasuk, it doesn't say it. It says, Ki kol oichel chelev min ha'be'ema asher yakriv. You bring it to the Mizbeach. That's the animal you can't eat chelev. But today, 2020, Tavshin Pei Aleph, you could eat chelev. There's no akrava. So how do I know to be marba? Oh, for that I need these red words. Ki kol and min ha'be'ema. That what? Ki kol oichel. And over here, pay attention. It says oichel. What does oichel mean? The human being eating. So shouldn't I add, if it says oichel, I should add another human being. Women. I don't know what. Instead of adding a woman, we're going to add food. Asks the father of Rav Huna, I have a problem. We just said you shouldn't add food. You should add another person. That's an animal that goes in the Mizbeach. So I don't know about chelev from another type of animal. An animal that cannot be brought on the base on the Mizbeach like we had yesterday. It has a mum, sarua. One eye is larger than the other. One limb is longer than the other. And how do I know that it applies to everybody in Klal Yisrael? Nothing to do with the carbon. Okay, so I have two drushes. The pasuk is talking about the person eating it. Oichel, the person eating it. Yet we're bringing a riboy for a type of food, a type of animal that has a mum. So what's the obvious answer? No. What's the answer? There's nothing else to add, says Leiby. Why is there nothing else to add? You can't add a woman. Why can't you add a woman? Because she's already added. We already learned the halacha that everything a man is chayiv. We learned this from the Shvuah by Gzela when we turned the page. So everything, and that includes chaylev, that includes gezel, shvuah, everything. So there's nobody else to add. Who am I going to add? A tumtum androgynous, like what else is there? So maybe I have to go to another type of food, but by us that I could add a woman, let's add a woman before I add a type of food. But over here by us, we don't know women yet. So Mela, I take the woman. Now the Gemara just finishes up the sugya. We're almost done here. We're just going to go until 5 lines before the end of the daf. Anyways, it's a brand new sugya. It's a long one. So we'll start it tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. Rabbanon don't hold that taroivus. Remember we said, Rabbanon v'loy klum. It's aser v'loy klum. You don't get any malchus whatsoever. Obviously, they don't darshan the word kol. Rebbe Lezer is of the opinion darshan kol, and that includes kutach. That includes beer. That includes all the taroivus. Rabbanon obviously don't learn the word kol. So we're in a big problem here. If you don't learn the word kol, what else don't you learn? You're not going to learn women. We just learned women from the word kol. But Rabbanan don't learn the word kol because they don't include taroivus. Rebbe Lezer learns two kols. One is to tell us taroivus, one is to tell us women. But if you ignore the word kol, you don't learn kol. So what are you going to do? Kol idarshe l'noshim nolu. How do you know chametz b'Pesach that women are chayiv? Says the Gemara, kol darshi, ki kol. Look at this. It says the word ki in red that they are darish. So then, why is Rebbe Lezer darshan ki? The chi teimo ki kol Rebbe Lezer loy darish or Rebbe Lezer loy darish. Maybe he doesn't darshan the word ki kol. So now the Gemara is just going to prove that he does. But Tanya, look at this pasuk. Halacha that many people don't know. It's kedai to stay all the way to the end of the daf just to learn this halacha. On the Mizbeach, in the middle of Chanukah, you cannot bring chametz on the Mizbeach. You hear this? It's Pesach all year round on the Mizbeach. Anybody knew that? It can't be chametz. Kichol sa'ar, the leavening, the sourdough, v'chol dvash and honey, lo saktiru. By the way, my psukim are not whole. They keep on going. I just put whatever fits in terms of it needs to be what? He looked to the side. It says here, fine, but he does know. He's my twin. He knows. Kichol darshi, I don't know, but he does. I mean, the reason why here, look, it doesn't even say it's sa'ar bal taktiru. You could see. Sa'ar loy taktiru. It jumps. See, so the Gemara does it, I could also do it. It's taking the parts of the pasuk that it's needed for here, Ein li elo kuloi. Miksasim minayin. How do I know if it's less than a kazayis? You're over if you put it on the mizbeach. Tamaloi mar kol. That's why I need kol. Eruvim minayin. If it's not nicker, like a kutach, and you put it on the mizbeach. If I put kutach on the mizbeach, how do I know I'm over? Tamaloi mar kikol. And who says this? Man Shamas the Darish kol, Rabbi Eliezer. Who's the one? Chachamim don't darshan kol. So who does darshan kol? Rabbi Eliezer. So Mela, this is all Rabbi Eliezer. And he darshans because garish ki kol. And he does darshan the word ki. So why are you telling me Rabbi Eliezer doesn't darshan ki? Kashya, indeed, it's a strong kashya. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Pass on that chesed. Don't forget to make that call. Don't forget to send a kayak to somebody. Have a wonderful day. I gave you a bike, a road bike. Shir Malis, anybody? Oh, sorry. Noam, are you available? Nachman might have COVID. Shir Malis, Ma'am Kim Kosicha Adinoi. Adinoi Shema B'Koli, Dinazon Gishovet Zikvod Achonoi. Ima boino istishmo yad inu miyamoid. Kimcha asichol lemanti vorei. Ki visi adenu kizon nafshi b'davra yecholti. Nafshi ladinoi mishomrim laboiker shomrim laboiker. Lechei yisrael adinoi ladinoi achesed v'arbei moivedus. Boruch Nosson, B'chalav Yisroel, Achenik Yisroel, Anesim Mitzvah V'Shavim, Yom B'Yom B'Yom Yehoshua, Avokim Rachem Aleim, Yisroel Mitzvah V'Vach V'Velo, Mishmur Lula. Hashto, V'Galav Zman Korib, V'Nimar Amen. Whoa, Mati, not so fast. Mati, not so fast. Not so fast, Mati. I need a shmooze with you for a few seconds here. Let me look. Oy vey. Mati, don't go, Mati. Okay, hold on. I'm looking. Okay, now you can go. Rafal Palter, Shalom Aleichem, Reb Rafal. I just read your email, no? Did you see it on the 8-minute daf? It's on the 8-minute daf also. Like 2 days ago. What? Give it a few minutes, like 3 minutes if you can. I'm sorry, what did you say?
There's someone there with a small baby. Have a look.
Who's that? It's not... Who's that? Yaakov Shalom who?
Yaakov Shalom Schreiber.
Yaakov Shalom Schreiber, Shalom Aleichem. How are you? Mazel tov.
Have a great day, everybody.
Great day. Rabbi Yaakov Razner, I got your email. Shkoyach. Thank you. Thanks for the chizuk.
Shlomi Klein, I think, is a new guy here.
He's got a really nice bathrobe. He has a really nice bathrobe.
Shlomi, did it look like this?
You know the color, that's what I want to know.
I called up to find out. I asked Oilam what color it is. You think I didn't stam?
He sent the drone over the house.
There's some confusion with the story. I don't know. You're almost like the Yomi magazine.
What happened? What was the confusion?
You had salt and pepper a little bit.
Yeah. Don't be like my wife now. Don't do it. Shlomi, don't do it. Control yourself. Control. Okay, what happened?
As long as Malcolm Seltzer doesn't publish the wrong story.
What happened? So what's the story?
I don't know. I think his father died like 20 years ago.
That's the salt and pepper, but you lived across the street from him.
He saved his life. His aunt and uncle lived across the street. And he came there for
Who said? You made it up? You said that his father's nifter. Yeshua Aaron Price told me. Yeshua said that Gordon is sitting, he's still in the year. He's still saying Kaddish, and he couldn't say Kaddish in the hospital for that father that died now. Don't make up stories, Shlomi. And another person just told me, I got a word that he did live across the street from you. You Pasha don't know. Here, hold on. Here, Yeshua, tell him.
His father was nifter, one of the first ones of Corona, and also I think his mother, but his father's for sure nifter.
He just killed his mother. Stop to make the story more interesting. Shem Yerachmiel. Okay, whatever. The point of the story is the chesed. Forget the details. Who died when? Okay, he died 20 years ago. Listen, I gave him I gave him another 20 years of life. I didn't kill him early. That's the ikr. Yeah.
Telling me, I hope you had a nice ride home. Yisroel sent me a text.
Yeah, I know.
I said, I want you to know that I'm like 43 years old. And I truly feel this was the first time I did nishmat.
Wow.
The first time I went to go pay a shibba call, and I felt like I did an achama. No, you go to the shibba place, you go and you say hello, you shake your head. And, but over here, I really felt like it had an impact. I don't know.
2 hours, Chabubi, 2 hours, not a joke. Okay, but for the story, it's better. And also, you don't say an hour. When you say a story, Shlomi.
He's driving a fast car.
Yeah, Shlomi, when you say story, you don't say an hour and 40 minutes from Crown. You say 2 hours and 10 minutes. You add a little bit, a little salt, a little. Hour and 40, what's the difference? It's 20 minutes, but it sounds so much better. Come on. Listen. Also, you guys were talking fast. It could have been 2 hours and 30 minutes, the Shiva call, but you guys are talking super fast. So it all depends. It's all relative. Yeah, they're doing 1.5 times speed. Rabbi Yisroel Goldstein. I have a shiloh for the oilam. I'm serious. I thought about this shiloh. You know, I want to coin a new phrase. There's a pyramid scheme and there's a pyramid dream. So this whole daf thing is a pyramid dream. There's a bunch of people that are pushing other people to learn the daf, and each one gets schar for the other guy coming and learning the whole thing. So I want to know, if you listen to my daf, you listen to the whole shir, so I get schar for you learning an hour. A little bit, I get a little bit of schar. But what if you put it on 1.5 speed? Do I only get 45 minutes schar instead of the hour? Is it my fault that you sped it up? It's the same words. I don't understand. It goes by the minutes? It goes by the minutes, or it goes by the echos? What is going on here? How does it work up there? I don't understand. Oh. I know, but Rabbi Yisroel, when it comes to Torah, you get a mitzvah for each word that you learn, and each word is worth the entire Torah, Taryag mitzvahs. So does it go by the words or it goes by the minutes? Now, if I cause, by the way, let's say Hillel Abrams brought 10 guys to the shir, and each guy learns an hour a day, he gets 10 hours of schusim. But now they just sped it up. It's not 10 hours, it's 7 hours now. So does he lose 3 hours of schusim?
Eli, all you're preparing for how much
Exactly, that's the shiloh. No, this is time out. Rabbi Bernhack, You definitely get schar for the words. That I know from the Chafetz Chaim. He talks about words, and you get schar for time. If a guy's a leilui and he learns 1,000 words a second, then he goes to sleep. So he gets schar like a guy that harved it away for an hour. Of course, you get for time. So that's the answer. You get for the words and you get for the time, but you don't get a full hour of time. It's only 45 minutes of time. Two different things.
I want to say something else now.
Yeah.
My Shmooze's father, my Shmooze's late father, his name was David Smith from London. I don't know if you had ever heard of him.
No.
He wrote a cipher called Shittas HaShilach. He was Messiah Shas every single year twice, the whole Shas every year. Wow. And he learned Masechet Pesachim over 1,500 times.
Wow.
He said the cipher Shittas
Wow.
HaShilach is a cipher designed to remember the Shas. That every single for Shas is a Pesachim. Pesachim has every single single of Shas.
Really?
You know Pesachim, you remember the whole Shas.
Wow. I told you there's a guy that comes to our shul all the time. His name is Koenig. Rabbi Koenig. He was a contractor his whole life. He built, I told you this, Maisa, he built, I don't remember, 1,000 apartments here in Ramat Bet Shemesh, and he lost everything. He lost every penny. So he decided to sit down and learn, and he finished Masechtas Shabbos. Shabbos is much, much larger than Pesachim. He finished Masechtas Shabbos 400 times or something. Every week, he makes a siyum on Masechtas Shabbos. He learns like a machine through the night. He gets up 2 a.m. It's a whole maisa with him. He went from contractor to learning Shabbos. He does Daf Yomi, he does other things, but yeah, beautiful. 1,500 times. Great day. One minute, what's his name again? What's the name of the Sefer, Rabbi Yisroel? Rabbi Yisroel, what's the name? Huh?
Shittas HaShilach. That was the name of the cipher.
Shittas HaShilach?
It was a spiral cipher. It never made this one. Spiral cipher. Oh, it was a... you saw it? You know what I'm talking about? The vice fish? You know what I'm talking about?
He says, yeah.
David Smith. He was a Goan Utzim. He was the Ruben Vilna up until he passed away
Wow.
15 years ago. A Goan Utzim. I used to go to visit him the whole time in his house. He had a room upstairs in his landing with a stender. He walked around the room. He came standing. He missed the page. He walked down the room, and that's how he just said the whole daf. As you walked around the room, a short guy, turn the page. That's how he learned. That's how he learned Shas. And once he was like, my father said, I have a terrible zikurim. My father says, he was mechut, my father. He said, what do you mean terrible? Do you remember everything? No, I just learned it. That's why I remember it. I have a terrible zikurim. He did Shas twice a year. There were 2 Chassidim, 2 Satan Meliden. He invited every single time. Told the kid in mouth shut. After he passed away by the Shiva, they came and told him twice a year, your father called us, and we made the same every 6 months. Made the same on Shas.
Wow.
Pesachim was his Masechta.
So, Rabbi Yisroel, last night I was saying also in Shir, when we said Hadron Allah Perikol Shah, Perikol Shah is all over Shas. Most of Shas is in just that one Perikol Shah. You see it everywhere. A lot of sugyas.
Every Ummah in the past period, there are 5 or 6 sugyas in each
Right. Yeah. Hold on. Eli has a question here.
My sister married a Smith. Princess Smith is that's Yossi.
Morning.
So can we get someone on the group that can do a cost-benefit analysis if we do them at quicker speed and we're covering more words in quicker time?
I'm gonna ask Leon Welcher from South Africa if he could disable the quick speed on the app at least. I can't control YouTube, but maybe on the app. It's digging into my Olam Haba. It's digging in.
On a practical note, the quick speed really helps because a lot of times we
I know. Listen, Menachem, I think you're 100% right. At the end of the day, it increases Torah. That speed increases Torah because people are much more interested in doing the daf, doing it full. Sometimes they're driving. They don't have the time, 100%. So I'd rather have people do it fast than do it slow, 100%. Masking to you 100%.
Whenever I feel there's a problem, I can always slow it down.
Yeah,
We can go back.
I'm with you.
I use the Stefansky when I do Chazara, not when I listen to the Shir the first time.
If I have a chance, I don't do it often. But if I have a chance to listen to Shirley Bornstein, let's say his raid or whatever, I wish I could listen every day, but it's very rare. I listen on two times, because I'm already familiar with the sugya, so I just listen real quick. Let's see if he has something interesting to say and weiter gegangen. But I think he might speak slower than me though, because I don't know. I try to do me on 2 times, I couldn't understand myself, so I don't know. Mm-hmm.
I can understand you on 2 times.
Really? Oh, did they shut off YouTube? I think so.
Eli, I just sent you a WhatsApp now of this side for Shitza Shillah.
Mishkoyach. I love it. I love that kind of stuff. 1,500 times. It's embarrassing, huh? We do Chazara 2 times. We think, oh, it's too much. 4 times.